by Strelok, and now SeleCT wants to encroach on the territory of Strelok, or Strelok is actually being pushed back a little bit because we do have a couple of one medevac. Is there another medevac? Just one medevac worth of Marauders going around the edge of the map. We do see two dual construction of missile turrets on the sides. Very, very good idea. Maybe able to pick off some of those drops if they are just not queued up correctly, or you queue it up and you forget about it. Another command set they're going up for SeleCT at the moment. Another point defense drone has gone up for Strelok, making his opponent not really want to engage. A scan goes off in the middle. An additional Vikings does show up for the fight. Both players still staring each other down. Not too much going on. A lot of psychological mind games. We do see one medevac going around, making his way to the side of the base of Strelok. And Strelok doesn't have too much over here. He does have a couple of Marauder does just spawn, and we will see an engagement. Not really an engagement, more of a slaughter of a supply depot. He should really run in these things to kill off the SCVs. Kill the SCVs. What are you doing? He does take off one SCV, and then he's actually engaging these Marauders, and they will go down to the hugging of those SCVs. These Marauders do not like to be hugged by SCVs. And the sensory tower does go up right next to the missile turret. Very, very good idea. A missile turret, a sensor tower does go up for SeleCT as well over here. And both players still just staring at each other's face, not quite engaging in each other's range for the siege tanks, but very, very close. Both players gearing up to mid-game. Neither player has gotten any upgrades for any units, but the point defense drone went down there, I believe. Both players still on 0-0 at the moment. If we take a look at the unit count, slightly in favor of SeleCT for pretty much everything except for Vikings, which is slightly in favor of Strelok. And he's going to use his Vikings and try to get some kills because he doesn't have that many Marines. He's going to try to snipe off one of those medevacs, but he can't really get too close because there's a missile tower. And then we see a huge engagement. A lot of Marauders are coming in to try to take off these tanks, and these Vikings are forced to land and engage on ground. Not something they want to do, but if they don't, they will lose the entire ground force. And now these tanks are sieged up. These Vikings do lift off a little bit, and they're going to try to pick off this Raven. Will he be able to do it? And he does pick off the Raven. The last siege tank sieged up at the moment. Strelok leaving that lone siege tank. Oh, look, he's unsieging. And the siege tank kills 1, 2, and almost picks off a third Viking just by himself. And oh man, that was very, very nice control by Strelok. Even though he lost the battle, he did manage to pick off 2 of the 4 Vikings that was trying to pick off that one siege tank. Very, very nice play by Strelok. Now, knowing that there are sensor towers, he's going to send out some infantry to take them out, as these do cost quite a bit and will not be able to keep on giving information for Strelok. Both players are approaching the mid and the late stage of the game. A lot of barracks. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barracks inside. How many factories? Only 1 factory, 1 starport. Whereas Strelok has only 3 barracks at the moment and 3 starports, focusing more on the production of the Vikings. If we take a look at the unit composition, we see a lot of everything for SeleCT. He does have a little bit of a lead because he did manage to get that early advantage from the income in the form of picking off those SCVs with those Banshees. Very, very good play. Now we're seeing that SeleCT is encroaching on his side of the base of the map, and he's gonna stay there. He's gonna pick up some Marauders with those medevac and maybe go for another drop on the side. At the same time, Strelok is taking his side of the tower. Both players not really moving much, as Terrans are a very, very good defensive race, and no doubt both these players are using their race to their advantage. I don't want anybody to take that incorrectly. We're talking about StarCraft, not something else. So we're talking about Terran versus Terran. Okay, alrighty then. We do see the missile turret is being placed on one over here, one over here at the 9 o'clock position, one at the 8 or around 7 o'clock position. And a medevac, empty medevac, is gonna drop off something, pick up something. Maybe he forgot his cargo. He goes, whoops, forgot. What am I doing out here by myself? Additional Marauders being produced, and we see a fleet of Vikings flying across, and we do see a couple of Banshees engaging that missile turret, and that one missile turret does take that one Banshee. Very, very good play from SeleCT. And now we might see a Viking get taken down by a missile turret. Wow, those two missile turrets are very, very well placed by Select, guessing exactly where he was gonna go with those units. And now a couple of scans go off, trying to track the movement of the massive amount of forces for Select. At the moment, Strelok is sieged, and Select is not yet sieged, but he's sieging up right now. If we take a look at the units lost, as this battle is about even at the moment, but both plays taking a lot of casualties. Tanks are sieged up, but they are just firing on each other, and these Vikings will give Strelok the sight for each other. But both players are scanning each other, and they will engage. He's landing these Vikings. That might not be the best idea. Oh man, he's landing these Vikings. These siege tanks were just going to retreat. He did lose a couple of Vikings there, maybe unnecessarily, as those siege tanks were retreating. Additional Banshees being produced by Strelok at the moment, and he may want to do some counter harass on the mineral lines, as Select doesn't have any missile. He doesn't have any missile turrets at his natural expansion. He does, however, have the island expansion as well as the gold expansion. So we do see both players taking the gold, taking their side of the map, and this one Marauder checking out exactly how many expansions each player has had. If we take a look at each of the players' maps, we do see that they both know about each other's expansion. However, Select does not know about the gold expansion for Strelok at the moment, but he could probably guess it, as he does have at least a one base advantage in his mind, and that is true for the most part. Combat shield being upgraded for Select at the moment, and on the other hand, Strelok is building a lot more Marines. If we take a look at the unit composition, once again, wow, 73 SCVs for Select, whereas Strelok only has 48 for 3 bases. We're going to see a huge difference in the income. Well, not a huge difference, but a 600, 400 difference. I believe the difference is made up by these mules. They help Strelok a lot because they are mining the gold minerals. And both players trying to get in the groove, not wanting to make a mistake, not wanting to slip. Both players putting up a lot of sensor towers all over the place, especially Strelok, and this one Marauder is just patrolling between the 2 points, and does get spotted by the one Marine and one Marauder, and that one Marine plus Marauder will be able to take down that one Marauder. Scans going off once again on top of Select's units, and he might be scanning Strelok's units relatively soon, and he does place missile turrets all over the place. Missile turrets are very, very good because they only cost 75 minerals, and if they can take down just one piece of air unit, it will most likely yield you a slight advantage. Select now actually deciding to take down his missile turret. That's kind of weird, but I guess he wants an expansion more than a missile turret. He decided to change his mind and put down another expansion. Both players gearing up. We see about even number of siege tanks. However, we do see a slight Viking advantage for Strelok. On the other hand, Select has a slight Marauder advantage. Well, more than double the number of Marauders, both around the same amount of Marines. One scan goes off, and he might be scanning for for Select. Select is moving about, and that missile turret for Strelok will be able to see some of the units of the movement, and these siege tanks are sieged, but some are in the back, not the best of position. And we see a huge engagement in the air and on the ground at the same time, and Strelok will be able to pick off all these Vikings, but he will lose most of his ground forces. And because he won that massive air battle, these Banshees will have free reign on all of the units of Select. Very, very good play there, deciding to lose the ground battle but win the air battle, and therefore enabling all these Banshees to rain fire upon the leftover siege tanks. Very, very nicely played there by Strelok, making good use of his Vikings. Now it's a little bit more even. However, Strelok has only first decided to get his island expansion, whereas Select has had his island expansion for quite some time. Select has gotten another expansion, but he has not put any SCVs over here. A couple of idle SCVs on the edge, just hanging out. Both players are macroing up because if we take a look at the army count, both players are focusing on having a very, very strong army, because a strong economy really does not mean that much if you do not have an army to match your opponent, especially at this level and this game specifically. Both players not really wanting to make a mistake. A lot of sensor towers all over the place, covering almost, I would say, 80, 70, 90% of the map, of the land at least, of the useful piece of information. Another command center going up, as he does not want to shoot that missile turret down just yet. both players still have very few upgrades, surprisingly, and we're approaching the late stage of the game now. 0-0 upgrades. A couple of scans go off for SeleCT on top of Strelok, and we see that SeleCT has gotten one attack for his tank. And both players might be thinking about engaging. Once again, we do see a superior air army for Strelok, and Strelok might try to use that to his advantage. Again, slight advantage, very slight at the time. Both players evenly matched up, I would say. And he's gonna try and go in. He's stemmed, and he's gonna go in and take down the missile turrets. Ooh, not very good engaging inside the range of those missile turrets. Those missile turrets will help him quite a bit. If we take a look at the unit loss tab, we will see both players are about even at the moment, but once again, Strelok winning the air battle, therefore enabling those Banshees to do whatever they want, and he might be able to kill off a lot of SCVs over here. He does. SeleCT is not going to defend these SCVs. He's going to make them run. At the same time, he's going to run these medevacs inside the base to... Ooh, he's not actually running. He's at the edge. Very nice play. At the edge of any of the sensor tower. He's going to stem up and try to run inside. And at the same time, Strelok is hitting that refinery, but Strelok very smartly just lifts up, and these Marauders can do nothing but look up at the sky, at the units they cannot target or hit. And now a bunch of Vikings do show up, as well as one Thor surrounded by a bunch of SCVs. This will force Strelok to retreat, or maybe he's not retreating. I think he should retreat. SCV's actually repairing the command center instead, and wow, that one Thor has torn the battle for SeleCT, and now he has a slight advantage, even though both players have a rather large army, 140 to 170, negligible really at this point, but I think that Thor will change the battle slightly in favor of SeleCT, and I think that's exactly what he needs. Concussive shell just being researched by Strelok at the moment. We see a huge engagement in the middle, both players shooting each other, and these medevacs don't have any Vikings to protect them, and they're going down very quickly. Even though these Marauders are going in, they does take down the tanks, but this time SeleCT wins the air battle, and two Thors come in, and they will be able to clean up these two tanks no problem, I think. And SeleCT winning that air battle, I think, might be able to help him to get a significant advantage. We do see a couple of medevacs with no Vikings to help this time, and this Thor is just shooting away at these medevacs, and the medevacs are not going down. Wow, actually, that was able to amazing combat by Strelok. That battle very intense. Both players' army hurting quite a bit, but Strelok hurting a little bit more as SeleCT is macroing up a little bit better, as he does have a lot more income in terms of minerals, and we do see he is hurting on the island. The SeleCT has dropped off a couple of Marauders, is picking off SCVs left and right. We see 4 kills, 3 kills. That's about 10 kills worth of SCVs, and he has forced Strelok to move some of his units to the side. At the same time, he is macroing himself. This is a great distraction, preventing your enemy from mining, at the same time macroing up and forcing your opponent to spend time where he might otherwise be spending those time on macroing up as well. A lot of units moving toward the middle of the map. Maybe he's thinking about making that final push. If we take a look at the unit army count, about 170 to 120, about the biggest gap we've ever seen in this game. These two Marauders still preventing that orbital command from landing. And now we might see another engagement. 2 siege tanks siege up, and these Marauders are within the siege tank's range, and they will melt away to the Marines and Marauder. And a couple of Vikings do come in, and Strelok, realizing he's at a severe disadvantage, does call GG. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you guys in game number 2. This is ggurface. Remember, always GG your games, and if you don't want to say GG your games, at least think before you poop. Alright, later, guys.